Ever wondered how to master the nunchaku wrist roll? Let's delve into the world of martial arts where the nunchaku reigns supreme. A weapon of choice for many martial arts enthusiasts, the nunchaku is a traditional Okinawan weapon consisting of two sticks connected at one end by a short chain or rope. The wrist roll, a fundamental maneuver in nunchaku handling, is not just a fancy trick, but a key skill in self-defense. It's all about control and precision, allowing you to swiftly transition from one move to another. It's a dance of sorts, where your wrist and the nunchaku move in a harmonious rhythm. Mastering the nunchaku wrist roll can take your self-defense skills to the next level, providing an edge in combat situations. It's not just about the physical prowess, but the mental agility that comes with the territory. By the end of this video, you'll have a good understanding of how to perform a nunchaku wrist roll. Before we dive in, let's talk about safety. Now, you might think that swinging around a pair of nunchaku is all fun and games, but it's crucial to remember that they're not just toys. They're tools, and like any tool, they can cause harm if not handled correctly. That's why it's essential to prioritize safety when practicing the nunchaku wrist roll. For beginners, it's highly recommended to start with foam or practice nunchaku. These are designed to minimize the risk of injury while you're still getting the hang of the movements. Even if you're an experienced practitioner, it's still a good idea to warm up with these before moving on to the real thing. And remember, the potential dangers are real. A misplaced swing can lead to bruising or worse, serious injury. So always be mindful of your surroundings and never practice in a crowded or confined space. Remember, safety should always be your number one priority. Now let's break down the nunchaku wrist roll into easy-to-follow steps. Imagine that you're holding a paintbrush and you're about to create a masterpiece. That's how you should approach the nunchaku wrist roll, with precision and a hint of artistry. Begin by holding the nunchaku toward the end of the stick, leaving a bit of room for the roll. Your grip should be firm, but not too tight. A relaxed hold will allow the nunchaku to move more freely. Now let's get into the motion of the wrist roll. This is where the magic happens. Picture the motion of a wave, undulating smoothly and without interruption. Your wrist should emulate this, creating a fluid circular motion that allows the nunchaku to rotate around it. The rotation of the nunchaku is a crucial part of performing a successful wrist roll. As you initiate the roll, the nunchaku should swing out to the side, tracing a semicircular path around your wrist. As the nunchaku reaches the peak of the swing, your wrist should roll over, guiding the nunchaku to complete the full circle and return to its starting position. Remember, the goal here is to create a smooth, fluid motion. The nunchaku should move like a pendulum, swinging back and forth in a controlled manner. If you're finding it difficult, don't fret. It's all about rhythm, and rhythm takes time to master. Start slow, focusing on the movement rather than the speed. As you become more comfortable, you can gradually increase the pace. The wrist roll is a fundamental technique in the art of nunchaku. It's the basis for many advanced moves, so it's essential to get it right. Don't rush the process. It's not a race, but a journey of self-discovery and skill building. So keep practicing. Try to incorporate the wrist roll into your regular training routine. Over time, you'll notice an improvement in your coordination, timing, and overall control. With practice, this motion should become second nature. Let's discuss some common mistakes beginners make and how to avoid them. First up is gripping the nunchaku too tightly. It's a natural instinct to hold on for dear life when you're swinging around a pair of these martial arts weapons. However, a tight grip can restrict the fluidity of your movements and make it harder to execute the wrist roll. So here's a tip. Hold your nunchaku like you would a bird, firm enough to prevent it from flying away, but not so tight as to crush it. Next, we come to the issue of not rotating the wrist. Many beginners make the mistake of keeping their wrist locked in place. This results in a lack of momentum, making the wrist roll impossible. Remember, the key to a successful wrist roll is in the name itself. Your wrist needs to roll. Imagine you're turning a doorknob. That's the kind of motion you should be aiming for. Another common error is moving the arm instead of the wrist. While it may seem like using your arm gives you more power, in reality it makes the move more cumbersome and less accurate. The wrist roll is all about precision and control, and that comes from the wrist, not the arm. So keep your arm steady and let your wrist do the work. Additionally, some beginners tend to rush the process. The wrist roll isn't a move you can master overnight. It requires patience and consistent practice. So don't try to speed up the process. Instead, take your time, practice slowly, and gradually increase your speed as you become more comfortable with the move. Lastly, don't forget to keep breathing. It might sound silly, but many beginners hold their breath while performing the wrist roll. This creates tension in your body, which can affect your performance. So remember to breathe normally. Avoiding these common mistakes will help you master the nunchaku wrist roll faster. Let's quickly recap what we've learned today. We started by introducing the exciting world of the nunchaku wrist roll, a fundamental technique in the art of nunchaku. From there, we highlighted the paramount importance of safety. Remember, it's crucial to always use protective gear and practice in a safe environment to avoid any injuries. Moving on, we broke down the wrist roll step by step, emphasizing the need for a relaxed grip and a smooth, fluid motion. We also stressed the importance of maintaining control of the nunchaku at all times. Finally, we tackled some common mistakes that beginners often make, such as gripping the nunchaku too tightly or not allowing the nunchaku to rotate freely. We gave you some tips on how to avoid these pitfalls, so there you have it, a comprehensive guide to mastering the nunchaku wrist roll. Keep practicing and soon you'll be performing nunchaku wrist rolls like a pro.